Hello, this is Perry Mink, and it is Monday, September 14th, 2020, at about 3:10 in the afternoon. This is the For the People video, and it is a update and current development of what is happening here, and what I am still going through as we seek justice. And justice is to be served in the instant. So I still don't have hot water. I tried to complete the transaction for the new phone service that I signed up for, and it said that the site was, what do they call it, under construction or something like that. I can't remember right now, but I couldn't get through on the site. I also wanted to order some specialty items, and I haven't heard back from them. And I don't know how many of these government terrorists are still going after anybody that I contact, but they are out there. And as I try to work on these cases, they keep interfering with me. And you might say to yourself, why isn't the U.S. government contacting me and talking with me in private when I'm actually giving this information to help stop these terrorists in our government? Why are they not protecting me? Why is Veterans Affairs doing this to me? That's federal. And why are these women protecting sex offenders and people who are criminals? These are government-paid people, paid by taxpayers, and they're protecting the criminals in the community, whether they're white-collar criminals, whether they're government criminals, they're protecting them. Alright, so what I spoke about in the last video was that, and I also posted online, is I'm working on 2 cases, and this is for people who want to know how does this very nefarious, very dangerous, very clandestine, very secretive terrorist operation, what are their methods and how do they proceed? How do they how do they operate? What are their tactics? What are their scams and schemes? And in the homework assignment from August 28th, 2020 for the people, I bring up about, once you know about this cruel Catholic MO, you will then be able to identify people who have been terrorized and destroyed, and then you would see the people who are venerated, uplifted, and they're able to live. So, as you know, my case, I was destroyed. I'm the one being terrorized on a regular basis. The laws are not being followed. They're terrorizing me at all levels. I still can't get new eyeglasses. I can't, shopping is interfered with in some way, sabotage at any moment. The unit here is sabotaged, and they changed the wiring and it's okay, Winnie, and they track everything that I do. It's not to protect me, it's to be able to terrorize me at will wherever they want to, and hopefully, if they can again, eliminate me without detecting it, without people being able to simply say, those are the people that, destroyed this person. So, the 2 cases are difficult. Okay, so this is for people who have you're already reading the part articles, you've, paid attention to my posts, you've watched the For the People videos, you've already, even for the people who know about my case, Mink versus Encina Veterinary Clinic Incorporated et al., that case is so simple. It is a simple fraud case. And so instead of awarding the settlement as our laws state, they use these very clandestine, very dangerous, very diabolical, very vile tactics that they come up with these ideas and these actions that they're going to follow through with behind the person's back. And that's what makes it so difficult to detect. This does come from the Catholic Church. This is taught through the Catholic Church. They teach it in their schools, and then these students grow up, and then they start infiltrating and wiggling into every place that they can, including other churches, into communities, businesses, by the masses, into the government, and then they start perpetrating this in society. So what puts you high on the hit list? There are many different reasons that would put you on the hit list. Alright, so we're going to get into this first case. It's difficult. If you're in law enforcement and you're not aware of this, perhaps you were hired and you're simply going to be used to carry out these nefarious, dangerous acts to eliminate people, you may be shocked yourself at this. Alright, because you don't know even within the government, it is so difficult to detect that you wouldn't know who is the one that is the terrorist group, the one that's working behind the scenes to do this, and who are the ones that are simply going with what they're telling them to do. So it's usually like a new person. So the case that I'm speaking about, if you're from this area, I'm in Contra, Costa County in California in the San Francisco Bay Area. And this case happened about just over a month before they kidnapped me and held me captive for a long time. And the case is about California Highway Patrol, Kenyon Youngstrom. And he is the one that is actually the one that's targeted. Okay, now how do I know this? What do you look for when you are determining who is the one that is the main target? So when you study the videos and the part articles, and even my previous YouTube videos, anything from you're a white man that is against corruption, you could be conservative, you could be heterosexual, you could be a Christian from a non-Catholic church, you could be an animal lover, you could be from another state or even another community and then come here. And so that would put you higher on the hit list in the regards that when you would see something in the workplace, you would then speak up. And so that, or have a reaction, and you'd go, what? Because this is a trap. This is a trap here. And so when people come here, they don't know it. So you're going to be used in some way or form, and they're going to approach you. And so when they approach you to do something, and it's not kosher, it's off, there's some peculiarity to it, you're going to react that way. You're going to be shocked. So something is, just to let you know, something is going on in my computer right now. I noticed that the screen flickered a couple times, and just now it sounded like somebody was in the speaker, like somebody was just for a millisecond was speaking in the speaker. So we'll continue on. I'm at about 10 minutes. All right. So this after reviewing the public articles about this case, I'll briefly explain to you what happened. So it was on September 4th, 2012, and Officer Youngstrom was coming down the freeway. If you're from here, you'll know where I'm talking about. It's a busy area where part of the freeway where you're just past the interchange. So one part of the freeway goes off to Oakland, and then the other part goes south, and then you're going down the towards the more south east direction, I guess, if you want to say, but it's not traveling west, and it's right past where the exit where you would go to Rossmore, the retirement community. So it's past that direction. And it was early in the morning. Well, not early in the morning, but it was about 8 something in the morning, and that's pretty busy. And he was pulled over on the side near Livorno exit, and he was clearing a dead deer. So the report goes on to say that his beat partner was coming along down the freeway towards him, and that he had a vehicle that was going to be pulling over, and for a very, what was it, just a mild, infraction type pullover, something about an obstructed license plate or something, and that he needed assistance, and then the vehicle pulled in behind this Youngstrom's car, his patrol car. These are highway patrol officers. They're out of the Martinez, California Highway Patrol office, which is on the bus line. So when you hear me say I'm taking, the bus and I'm on 19 or something, it goes right near there. Or I'm going to the Contra Costa County Animal Services, it's right near there. So right off, just going back to that time, I remember one of my clients, who at the time I did not know was part of the terrorist attacks against me and one of my senior clients, who became a widow, who was the wife of the retired California state investigator Gerhard Damon. And at that time, I didn't know that this man, his name is Don Peckham, was actually actively involved in destroying me, and I believe now that he was actively participating in destroying Kathy. And so his daughter is, her name is, what was her, Nancy, also worked for the, for Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department. And I remember when he brought Kathy and I over to his home, which is actually not too far from that exit, and he took us on a tour of his home, which was a 2-story house, and he showed me a picture, and he points to his daughter in this photo with this man, and I said, "Oh, is that her husband?" And he says, "Oh no, that's Sheriff Warren Roop." Okay, well, those of you around here know that he's a really, he's a criminal sheriff deputy in town, a Catholic who attended the Christ the King Catholic Church here in Pleasant Hill. All right, so this man, Don Peckham, said, "What did you think about that, what happened this morning?" And it was, to me it was shocking, and we were talking about how he had just pulled over for a dead deer, okay? So that was the reason why he pulled over. All right, so so when you then hear that this beat partner, that's what's in the news, and his name, his beat partner's name is Tyler Carlton, CHP officer Tyler Carlton. And what is so disturbing about this is once you start to put this secret, clandestine, nefarious, diabolical, terrorist tactic together, you'll start to understand why it's so disturbing. So this, just a little bit of history on this Tyler Carlton, because it was very difficult for me to find. At the time of the incident, he was a young man, somewhere around 26, 25 years old. He was graduated from the California Highway Patrol Academy in 2009, and 2 years later he was transferred to the Contra Costa County area out of the Martinez CHP. And that tells you that he was pretty young at the time that he was supposedly a beat partner for this Officer Youngstrom, who had 7 years already with the CHP. And Youngstrom was not from this area, as I mentioned, and I tried to find more information on Carlton, and all I could find was that he lives in the Bay Area. He lives in the San Francisco Bay Area, but that's all I could find. I don't know if he lived there prior to graduating from the CHP Academy, and then, he became a CHP. I don't know. Okay, so now when you look at the news report, one, it's very difficult to find out that Youngstrom actually pulled over for a dead deer. Initially, he pulled over for a dead deer. Okay. Two, calling this Carlton a beat partner is a little bit disturbing, because when you say beat partner, it means that the two of you are in a partnership and you're driving together. It means that the two of you are in the same car and you're driving together. So what is so how shall I say, like secretive, like backroom dealing about this? One, if you've learned about what I've been going through and you've watched my Facebook videos even recently, the police officers here, their friends and family that are terrorists, they keep planting things around me, and it could be anything from, for example, I had bought some cone incense not too long ago, and then they threw a whole bunch of cone incense on the side of the road side of the sidewalk where Winnie and I go walking. Okay. Another time I bought Thai iced tea packets at Safeway, and so all of a sudden we're on our walk and there's the Thai iced tea packet. There were incidents, though, as dangerous, though, as they were putting glass where we would walk. There were incidents, though, where it became even more dangerous, where they would have a child purposely kick the basketball right at Winnie. Okay, there were other incidents where it got even more dangerous, more life-threatening, where they poisoned Winnie. Okay, so do you understand what I'm talking about? Okay. And so this is what I'm trying to explain about this particular case and why Youngstrom was the main target. So when we talk about the dead deer, that you can't really find a lot of articles about it in the news, you would say, where did the deer come from? Who reported it? How long was the deer there for? You would wonder, where was the deer actually? Was it in the far right lane? Was it in the shoulder lane? Was it? It claims to be that it was somehow affecting the traffic. Okay, and then you say, well, what about the timing? When did the deer come to be there? All right. So just keep all that in mind. Then there are different elements to this. Okay, this is a very nefarious backroom setup, and as I mentioned before, you saw my recent For the People about how I posted the article where they really think they're playing cowboys and Indians. All right, so the goal is that these police officers, these DA men, these women in the government, they're basically playing this wicked game. Let's see how far we could go with this. Let's pick somebody, okay? Let's see how this plays out. You know, hey, survival to the fittest, or whatever that term is called, survival of the fittest, okay? Okay, so keep that in mind about the deer. Keep in mind that this Carlton is a young man. I don't know if they call them a rookie at that stage, 3 years, 2009, 10, 11, 12, 3 years as a rookie, I don't know. They were calling him a beat partner. The fact that he was in another vehicle, the fact that he called in this needing assistance to him when he was out there on that call for the deer. Okay, that's part of this more elaborate terrorist scheme. Believe it or not, that's how they operate. Alright, so now let's go to the man who was in the vehicle that Carlton claimed that he needed help with from Youngstrom, his so-called beat partner, that just happened to be driving down that area where the deer was, okay? And at the time that, for some reason, Carlton happened to be driving down the freeway. Okay, how does that work with the CHP? I didn't read any reports on how a beat partner in CHP is considered a partner if you're in separate cars, all right? That's not something that they've even explained in any of these news reports. Okay, so that with the dead deer, there's no explanation about the deer. There's no details about what this beat partner means. All right, so about the gunman, this man that shot Youngstrom, his name is Christopher Lacy, and he's a white man, and he is educated. He has a master's degree in computer, IT or something like that. And he was working down in South Bay, and I guess driving that route to get to his job. Now, what is so wicked about this, okay, now remember, this was going on at the same time that I was being terrorized by the legal system here, by the entire legal system here in Contra, Costa County, the sheriff's department, the local police, the district attorney's office, and the court system. So, based on how these very supremacist, terrorist, this supremacist terrorist regime operates here, is that they scope people out. They scope people out, and then they profile, target, hunt. Okay, I'm not kidding you. This is how they work. Now, if you've kept up with my story, in part 7, I talk a little bit about Sue Angeli, who happened to be the property manager at the condominium complex in Pleasant Hill where I bought my condominium. And that's when I moved out here to this area. And I didn't know at that time, but she was a scout. But she was also a terrorist. And she was terrorizing the people in the condo complex. And there was about, I want to say about 112 units in that condo complex. And she was using her connection with law enforcement, and she was the mayor of Pleasant Hill, and she worked part-time for BART, Bay Area Rapid Transit, and she was a scout, and she was terrorizing people, and I didn't know, but she was also targeting me to go after my mom, who lived in Monterey, in the Carmel area. Alright, so keeping in mind that they are, like I say, they're in all these businesses, they get into the top positions, and they are the scout. They are the terrorist scout. Now, at the time that I moved to Pleasant Hill, I believe that David Livingston was the chief of police for Pleasant Hill. I'd have to check on that, but when I got to moving to Concord, where I bought my sanctuary home, my mobile home, he was also the sheriff. He then switched to being the Concord police chief in Concord. So let me say this again. It's complex. Let me tell you, it's very complex. When I moved here in 1995, I believe that Sheriff David Livingston, he's the sheriff now, he was the chief of police of Pleasant Hill when I moved there. Then when I moved to Concord, he was then the Concord chief of police for Concord at that time. Then he became the sheriff, and that he's the sheriff now. That's David Livingston. The one before that was Warren Roop. All right. So when we talk about Christopher Lacy, okay, so the way that the terrorist government operates is they scope people out. They scout them out. So they may have very much already known about this Christopher Lacy, in different ways, through nefarious ways, through certain people in the government. And why would they target Christopher Lacy? Because he's against the government. It turned out that he was one of these, he wasn't part of their groups, but he was looking into them, and these were these sovereign citizen group, and I can't remember the names right now. I didn't write those particular names down, but they were people who are against the government. And he's a white man, and his family is from Alaska, so you can imagine that they're, who knows how often they've been targeted, and have not the freedom that the Constitution talks about. But they went, and there's articles, and they went into great lengths how they spent taxpayers' money to find out why this guy shot Youngstrom. I mean, it was strange in that it was peculiar, it was questionable in that the investigation was done by the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department and the Contra Costa County District Attorney's Office. It wasn't done by the California Highway Patrol. It wasn't done by federal, and there was no report that anybody from federal was even alerted or came in, although I do recall one news article where they did mention the FBI about something. It just was so vague. It was just so vague. And so there's a cover-up. There's a cover-up. So this very costly determination was that there was no reason for this Christopher Lacy killing this Youngstrom, okay? And so you go back to this other very nefarious, dangerous trap that is happening here in Contra Costa County that they don't want anybody to know about, okay? So back to the Carlton and Youngstrom, okay, because they're saying that he's a beat partner. Now, you would ask some questions such as who else or who were the people that knew or were like grooming Carlton. So who would tell Carlton, you know, hey, when you do this work, you know, just you don't have to alert your partner to that, you know, this, that, and the other. Right. That you would think, okay, if this is a beat partner and you have protocols, right, you would notice that the protocols would have been followed, right? Why did the car pull in front of or pull behind Youngstrom? Well, they're saying that Youngstrom directed him, okay? So, well, that doesn't seem right, because why would the beat partner, you know, why would he be influenced to do that? Okay? It just doesn't add up. If you read all the articles, they are very detailed in certain areas, and it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. Okay? Another question was, if they are beat partners and protocols were followed, why would this Carlton not be prepared or in advance explain to this Youngstrom something different? Like, why aren't they releasing what they said? See, that part of it is staying secret in the government. That none of the police reports actually said what was being said between the two officers. It just says that he radioed him, his beat partner Carlton radioed Youngstrom that he needed assistance with this car, with this man in it, with some kind of infraction of some obstructed license plate or something. Okay, so if that was what happened, why didn't the news media say, well, we got the information that this particular officer said to this officer, okay, but that's not what you're going to find. What you're going to find are police officers from somewhere else saying, you don't know, and you wouldn't know what could happen in this situation or that situation, or, you know, it's just one of those, you know, unfortunate circumstances. Oh, this is, you know, terrible, okay? It's not like that. That's not what this is. That is not what this is. All right, so I did a little bit more research into what continued to happen as far as what was in the news, who else, you know, who else was speaking about this and so forth, and who is this Youngstrom? All right, so back to why is Youngstrom so high on this list? Why is he so high on this hit list? Okay, so a couple different reasons. He's a white heterosexual. Okay, he's not Catholic. He's from the Bible Church, Community Bible Church. Okay, which reads the Bible. That's their focus, is you're going to read from the Bible. Okay, he's married to a non-white. Okay, now I remember when I first saw that in the news, the first impression that I got of his wife, just the glimpse, is that she was Asian, or maybe she could have been part Asian. But after researching today, she looks more Hispanic. I don't know. Okay, I don't know, but it's a multiracial relationship. And also that he loves animals. Okay, now in the news article, they're describing him as enormous heart. Okay, giving man, devout Christian. He's a man of great faith. All right, that's how they were describing him. But with Tyler Carlton, I can't find hardly anything about him except that they really exaggerated and credited him with national valor, honor, that he did some heroic, life-saving act that is just to be the most acknowledged in the entire world. Okay, now I'm sorry if I sound like this is upsetting to me about this Tyler Carlton. The fact of the matter is, either he's being used and excessively used, he's young, and perhaps he was trapped into it, that's how they sucked him in, or he's a child of a Catholic here in this community. All right? So if you look online, you're going to find many, many news articles, government acknowledgements that they have completely recognized him as a national hero. I mean, to the top level. All right? Now, who went to Youngstrom's funeral? Okay, to the memorial. Guess who went? Who do you think went? I'll give you a clue. What political people went to CHP Kenyon Youngstrom's memorial, along with hundreds and hundreds of other law enforcement officers from all over the place? Governor Jerry Brown and Kamala Harris. Attorney General Kamala Harris, California Attorney General Kamala Harris. So these people are in on it. They know exactly what this is. They know that they are terrorizing people even within the government, and that they're killing them off. They're killing off politicians who are against their regime. And if you have been watching and keeping up with my testimonies, quite some time ago on Facebook, I gave a testimony when I was living at the condominium complex in Pleasant Hill. One of the neighbors in one of the other clusters, a man whose son-in-law was working for a police department. I believe it was in Davis, which is just north of here. And he was just doing his job. And he was set up by his supervisor and another police officer, both of them men. And they fired him over just following his commands, okay? But I believe initially before that, he was either not wanting to participate or something like that. But the end result was that his supervisor and another male police officer set him up, and then he was fired. And then that was the end of his career in the police department. So that's why I brought this case forward, is because Carlton is young, so he was being groomed. And if he is either from a Catholic family or already somebody in the terrorist regime and their child, and then he was groomed to continue on within the legal system. So that's how dangerous this is. That's how violent the government is. And the federal government is supposed to stop it. It stems from the Catholic Church. So there's one YouTube video where Youngstrom's wife is making a statement, and she reflects on it as there was some type of error that occurred, like there was some, like an error on the part of it within the interaction that was going on with, with their job or something. That's how I took it anyway. You could, see that on if you want to search yourself. I'm afraid to click on anything and turn the camera around because for some reason I'll turn off the video, and I don't want to do that, but you can look those up. You can also find the article where it does show that Governor Jerry Brown and Attorney General Kamala Harris did go to Youngstrom's funeral. Alright, so I did a little bit more research because I didn't know what this community Bible church is that his family, Youngstrom's family, was attending. And I wasn't sure what denomination it was either. And it's non-denominational. They work independently, but they are Bible-based. And so they're reading from the Bible scripture. Now, what disturbs me today is I went to bring up the articles and look at some of the things that I was looking at yesterday. And what I was looking at was I wanted to see what that church was about. And he attended the Community Bible Church in Vallejo. And so I went to their website and I started looking at it, and it turned out that one of the lead people there, they were all men, is from the Roman Catholic Church. And I looked at it this morning, or this afternoon. It's 3:53 right now, and it's already changed. And so I know as I was looking at doing all the research yesterday, that they are still tracking me, watching every little website I look at, every little type, every word, every phrase that I type into the search engine. And then they're going to these other people to, defy me from doing this, defy me from buying that, defy me from getting this, defy me from justice, defy me from living, okay? So when I saw that yesterday on the Community Bible Church, that one of the significant people there is Roman Catholic and came to this church, well, that was a red flag right there. That was an indication that that person could be a scout. And so that would put Youngstrom even higher on the list. And that's what is illegal. It is a terrorist attack on the United States, on the state of California. It needs to be stopped immediately. Homeland Security is supposed to understand what this is, how this works, how their terrorist regime operates, and they are supposed to stop it. We are supposed to be protected. They are using all types of scams and schemes, wicked, insidious, diabolical, slow and methodical, dangerous. They have all kinds of names that they refer to it just to make it seem like it's normal. Like I said, playing cowboys and Indians. Oh, this is fun. This is not fun. This is a violation of our rights. This is a violation of our Constitution of the United States. It's a violation of the Constitution of California. And people, millions and millions of people, need to step in and take these people out. They need to be wiped out immediately. Alright, so I have another case that I'm working on. I spoke about two cases. Both of these men are white men, And that's what I was speaking about. The women go along with it, and then they recruit very rapidly, and these non-Catholics just jump right in. And so you have people like Christine Nishi and these other women like Jillian Martinez at the Housing Authority. They just jump right in because they're getting benefits. They're getting kickbacks. They're money laundering. They think it's fun. They convert right away. It's totally illegal, and it needs to be in the news. All right, thank you for watching. It is about 3:56 in the afternoon. This is about a 1 hour video, 45-minute video. 45-minute video. It is Monday, September 14th, 2020, and we're going to make sure that justice is served, because these people do not belong in the government. Kamala Harris needs to be indicted and convicted right this minute. And same with Governor Jerry Brown. All right, thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. And signing off for now.